Hey guys, today I'll be doing my video review of my BH Cosmetics set. If you checked out my site, you'll see I did a 3-part series on them because there's just so much to cover that it would have been one hell of a long blog. So, 3 pieces and lots of goodies. So, I'm going to just start with the makeup, the brush set. So this is what it comes in, nice little case like this, embossed. It's a 10-piece set, as you can see. Blush, foundation brush, powder brush, we have an angled brush, eyeliner brush, lips, eyeshadows, all that jazz, mascara brush, and there you go. I like these brushes because they're definitely higher quality than some of the other ones I've been working with, and the worst thing is when you're putting on makeup and all of a sudden you have all these little hairs in your face and you're wondering where the hell did that come from. So brushes that fall apart equal bad makeup brushes. These do not have that problem whatsoever. I found they're very easy to clean, which is important because you don't want old makeup and dirt and grime just chilling on them, because that's just asking for trouble. The next piece I'm going to show you is the Camouflage Concealer Set, 10 colors, and those are them. These 3 all look the same in this light, but they are slightly different, and that's obviously my end of the pool here. But as I said in my blog, I've seen videos from BH Cosmetics online, their tutorials, that use the darker colors as your contours instead of using powder. I guess it just kind of depends on your preference. They use a kabuki brush to blend it out. For me, not using contour very often because when I smile, my cheekbones are pretty obvious. It does help narrow my face down a little bit. But I just find that powder is a little easier to work with for me just because I don't do it very often. And yeah, I also tried a couple of these out as a combination on, well, I stole my boyfriend's arm for the dark one to see if you notice it. He is a bit darker than that, and he would never wear it. And one of my other good friends, I tested it out just to see how it would shape on her, and you could definitely blend a few of those together to make them really work on them. But one of my friends is lucky enough to have found concealer and all that jazz that actually matches her skin tone. So I tease her and say she's very lucky. The next one I have is a 6-color palette of contour and blush. So this is what I would use to contour if and when I do. And there you are. So you see the top white highlight over here. Oops, over here. We have a darker peach. This peach you can use, see if I get closer, there we go. You can use that one on the cheek, and then obviously the dark brown is contour, and then we have these dark pinks, one more rosy, one a little bit more brown, and I go for warmer peaches because my cheeks can be a little bit red by themselves, so if I put anything too pink or too bright, it just, I look like a clown in my opinion. So peaches are the way I go, but I will be using all of those ones and seeing how they go. The next one is the 66 palette lip gloss. I love this. These are not just, a lot of times you pick up a lip gloss and it's like, okay, so it's red. You're like, alright, you go home and it's not red. It's got a little bit of a red tint, but nothing very drastic. So you're kind of like, you need to wear red lipstick or lip liner anyways to get the red background color. With these, you don't. If you want, you can prime your lips if you want it to stay a little longer, just like you would if you wanted to use a lip liner, or how you'd use a lip liner for a lipstick. But I find these colors really stay. There's a couple that I've used a lot, a couple of the corals, and I used a couple of the reds, but there's lots of variety. There we go. And my problem is, when I go to look for a red lipstick, I had flaming red hair a little while ago, and it was really hard to get a red lipstick that I could use on a more regular basis, because I didn't want it being too far off from my hair, because you kind of look at it and it looks kind of funny, and then again, getting a dead match was just too difficult. So when I got this, I was so happy, because you can mix them up. A couple of them, you're obviously not going to use them on a regular basis, like the blues and the greens in the second bottom row. Those are probably more Halloween stuff, and the only thing I can think of looking at those is something from Little Mermaid. If you could be a Little Mermaid, or something else from Under the Sea, blue lips would be perfect. But no, this palette is so worth it. As you can see, I've made quite a bit of a dent in that coral up there. Great color. It's not one that's too bright and outstanding, but it's definitely a different color than my lips, so it works well. And now on to the real goodies, which I am still so happy with. These are the 120 palette eyeshadows. I have the first and second edition because when I got the bundle, those are the two that were included. So these were all in one set price. They have bundles still, like they have their spring bundles, but I know when I checked them out recently, they'd made one switch with the blush and contour. Maybe they either ran out temporarily but still wanted to keep the bundle up, so what they changed it with was their 26-piece eyeshadow and blush combination. So I believe it has, I think, about 6 bigger blushes, not the same size as those ones, and the rest are all eyeshadows that kind of correspond. Still a great product, but I like my blush and contour. Alright, these ones never want to open for me. So, when you open it, this is the first level that you get of the first edition. You got your blacks, silvers and grays, and whites and opalines. You got your different greens that go into your blues, light to dark purple, light pink to fuchsias, some more purple and pinks down here, some corals, and they're kind of red at the end, and then the bottom has a little bit of golden yellows and a neutral line of brown. And when you pull this ribbon, the most ingenious idea, this tier pops up, and you can pop it in the top so that you have your full palette open. And then there's the bottom line. We got our teals, aquas, and blues, different greens, a couple yellowy greens up in this top line. Then you go into the extremely bright yellows. Get a closer look at those ones. And then you have your pinky peaches and some more yellows at the bottom. I have used this for a couple looks that you can see on my Facebook page, Live Life Your Way, public figure, I believe it says. And I used a couple of the light teals, light aquas, and I used a white. So I used the white on the inside, it really made my eyes pop, and the color on the outside. I wore it with an outfit that was two of those colors, and a lot of people say that you shouldn't match your makeup to what you're wearing. No one's given me a good enough reason to really believe that. Obviously, if you have a super eccentric outfit, then maybe matching your face isn't the greatest, but with what I did, it was on the subtler side of wild, so it wasn't too bad. But I'm a fan of at least trying to get similar colors into the palette on your face when you're doing an outfit. So that's the first one, and as you can see, they have a little number 1. And they do have one more palette that I didn't get because the set only came with 2. So that's the second one. And I believe the third one, they all have the same colors, just different ranges and hues and shades. So it's all personal preference, but I'm quite pleased with these ones. I find that the second palette has a lot more shimmery eyeshadows, which are great too, because, you know, mattes aren't boring, but after a while you want to spice things up a little bit, and this just makes it easier than adding your own glitter. Alright, so on the first tier, I'm just going to go closer for you, we have the white, a goldy opaline, and some gray and blacks. Then we got a neutral row over here. Then we got some light greens, a little bit darker greens, and pretty much all of this row, and half of this one, is all shimmer. The next row is the blues, top half is shimmery. The next row is pretty much all shimmer, mine has a couple of them, this one's not and this one's not. Then we got the dark blues, the more, like that's more midnight blue, more ultramarine up here, purples, corals and reds, and then more of a neutral side over here. We got a couple of taupes, a couple of light pinks that blend out really nicely, a couple skin tone ones, just if you want to do a more neutral eye, and then something more kabam on the side, or however you plan on doing it, if you just do a nice neutral eye. And I find this palette goes more by columns, the other one was more by long rows of color. So when you open the bottom, it almost matches up with the color scheme. This is back to the neutrals, then we have all the pinks, then we have a similar row to this top one here, more purples, blues, greens, this one's definitely more teal and aqua, a couple more yellowy greens. I find that the bottom palette is less shimmery than the top tier, but they're still great. Some bright yellows, a couple corals, and some oranges. I've used a couple of the yellows on this palette and the other palette, and they're not weak by any means. Like, these eyeshadows are highly pigmented. They are fabulous. I had someone ask me to do color swatches. I will show you those with and without primer. So this is my primer. It's Smashbox Photo Finish Lid Primer. It's kind of a small bottle. It's about $25 at Shoppers for those of you who live up in Canada, which I thought was kind of expensive because I'm not big on spending money on makeup. I like big deals, which is exactly what this BH Cosmetic palette is to me. But I figure, since I don't usually use it that often, usually the eyeshadows just match on me perfectly, they're really bright, I figured I would invest in it. But really, it's got a little sponge applicator, and so I only put a couple dabs on my lid, and then whatever's left I do a swipe over my brow bone and it blends it all out in case I do something a little higher than just on my lid. But for me, because of my color, I can use this as an eyeshadow if I wanted to, if I don't have time to do something, but it works. It has a concealer. When I put it on, it just kind of blends everything out. It looks good on me. I can just go out the door if I have to. But I just put a couple of lines of it on my hand, which I'm going to put some of these colors on. So it'll be from the second palette, and I'm going to do a couple neon colors for Dio. I'm going to pick a purple, this purple right here. I'll show you what that looks like on my hand. Hopefully I can get it on the actual line of primer so you can see it better instead of just showing. Didn't work out too well. It didn't line up perfectly, but it's still bright. It looks kind of muddied now. So what I'm going to do is I will just do a look with these colors later so you can see what they look like. That way it's better than a color swatch. Instead of me digging my finger trying to get all the pigment out, I will just leave it as is, and I will take care of that for you guys later. And so later today, I'll be doing some makeup videos, some tropical looks, some sunrise looks. I'll also be doing a video on spring and summer nail polish colors, some trends that are going on, some different ideas that are floating around. And I also wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to post a link down below, as well as my website, a website to BH Cosmetics. So you can check out their wide range of other palettes. They have smaller palettes for this, that, and the other. So good quality, great price. Even for shipping to Canada, they ship through the postal service, so we don't get charged at the border with obnoxious prices like you do from UPS. So make sure if you are from Canada and you are selecting that, to make sure you hit post and not UPS, otherwise you'll get some magic charges when it gets delivered to you. Another thing I wanted to mention, which I also wrote in my blog, is that when the box comes, it is so well packaged that you will not have to worry about anything. I was terrified that it was going to get out to me, it was going to be broken, powder everywhere, destroyed, and I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to send it all back? Because if something is damaged, they will take it back and send you the same item. But when I opened the box, first of all I saw was paper. So I was like, okay, this looks good. Took all the paper out, and then each piece, no lie, each piece was wrapped in bubbles. So there was bubble wrap on everything. So there was no way that these products could move around at all in the box. So I took everything out, laid it on my bed, popped them all open to make sure. Each case also had a thin plastic layer to protect the colors from rubbing and from smearing on things. Not that I found they have any problems touching the lids, but all that was taken care of, which was phenomenal. So really have absolutely no worries about this for any traveling. Obviously if you're outside of California, it's going to have to travel to you, and either way it'll be coming perfect. So just want to let you guys know that as well, and there might be other details that I skimmed over in the video, but like I said, go to my beauty section on my website, posted below, and you'll be able to read the full thing. See you guys!